Welcome to the Town of Augusta Reassessment Project. The Town of Augusta adopted a resolution to conduct a town-wide reassessment project. The goal of a reassessment project is to create full market value assessments to fairly and equitably distribute the property tax levies of the town, school districts, county, and village if applicable. Reassessment does not create additional tax dollars. It is merely a redistribution of the tax levies. All parcels located within the municipality are assessed regardless of their property type: residential, vacant land, commercial, utility, and tax-exempt parcels. Properties appreciate and depreciate at different rates. Not all properties rise or fall in value at the same rate. This is why a comprehensive reassessment project is necessary, rather than merely applying a percentage of value to all properties. Think of a reassessment project like a pie. Each property owner is responsible for a piece of the pie. Not all pieces are the same size due to the value of each property. New York State is an ad valorem property tax state. Ad valorem means according to value. This means that taxes are collected based on the value of the property. To ensure property owners are only paying their fair share of the pieces of the pie, regular reassessment projects are important in equitably distributing the tax burden. While some property owners pay more after a reassessment and others pay less, the size of the pie does not change. Certain property exemptions are affected by reassessment. For example, the current Senior Star exemption value is $34,820. After the reassessment, the exemption will be $88,000. New York State Office of Taxation and Finance Department of Real Property Services monitors reassessment projects on a regular basis to ensure proper rules and procedures are being followed. Representatives will perform preliminary statistical analysis on the new full value assessments prior to the mailing of the assessments to property owners in an effort to ensure full value measurement is achieved. Ultimately, this office is responsible for certifying the assessment roll is at full market value and approving any aid monies to the town. Is reassessment mandated by New York State? No. New York State Real Property Tax Law Section 305 states that all properties must be assessed uniformly. 100% full market value assessment is the most easily understood. What is an equalization rate? Since full value assessment is not mandatory in New York State, and municipalities can update property assessments when they see fit, New York State has to create full value assessments for all properties to properly distribute tax levies, such as the county, school, and shared villages. The equalization rate is determined by analyzing current sales and comparing them to current assessments. For example, if the current assessment is $33,000 and the sale price is $100,000, the equalization rate is 33%. The Town of Augusta's current equalization rate is 33%. Creating equalization rates takes an average of all the calculations and provides one rate for all parcels: residential, vacant land, commercial, and utility properties. This means the rate is not an accurate conversion rate of all parcels. However, this is the best method for moving all assessments to some sort of full value measurement so levies can be distributed. After a reassessment and all parcels reflect 100% full value more accurately, more proper and fair distribution of levies is achieved. What are the steps in a reassessment project? Phase 1 is the property data inventory verification. Phase 2 is valuation, creating the new full value assessments. And Phase 3 is the informal review process. Phase 1, property inventory data verification. The goal of property inventory data verification phase is to gather the most current information on each property to ensure proper valuation can be accomplished. Good data in equals good data out. In communities where a recent data verification collection project has been completed, or the assessor routinely updates property inventory data on an annual basis, this phase of the project may be eliminated. In some cases where a comprehensive data verification collection project has not been completed in several years or never, This phase is necessary to ensure proper information is being utilized for the valuation process. Current technology allows the verification process to be completed without intruding on property owners' property. Aerial imagery and specialized tools allow technicians the ability to measure the property to determine the square foot living area of the properties. Square footage is determined by measuring the external dimensions of a property. For example, a one-story house is measured by calculating the length and the width. If the length of the house is 60 and the width is 30, the total square footage is 1,800 square feet. Other factors in the verification process include location, age, condition, grade of construction, type of siding, whether it's vinyl, brick, or wood, amenities such as a pool or outbuildings, garage, the size of the garage, bedrooms, bathrooms, and basement. Does the property have a basement or not, or is it a walkout? Technicians also use multiple listing records and other data resources to verify information. A digital sketch of the property is created to validate the measurements. The updated property data information is entered into the town's property information database. Upon completion of this phase, residential property owners will receive a property inventory data survey via mail. If a property owner identifies discrepancies, instructions will be provided in the mailing on how to submit necessary changes. Commercial property owners will receive a commercial income and expense survey requesting income and expense information on their properties. Commercial property owners can also go to the PRO's website to review their commercial inventory data. All land records will also be updated using municipal tax map information and aerial imagery. The newly updated information will be used in the next phase. Phase 2, Valuation. Reassessment projects utilize the process of mass valuation. This is an industry standard in the valuation of a multitude of properties in towns and cities. Mass appraisal uses statistical analysis and computer-assisted valuation models to determine new full value assessments based on current and recent sales transactions. Mass appraisal is not an exact science. Unlike an individual property appraisal, typically utilized in mortgage financing, mass appraisal considers multiple factors based on recent and current sales activity in a particular location and provides results that reflect a reasonable assessment based on data available. The first step in the process is to cleanse the sales to include only those sales that are considered valid and usable. A valid sale is determined as a transaction between two unrelated parties, no relatives. Also, no sales under duress like an estate sale or foreclosure. Properties in a municipality are segmented into neighborhoods based on location, such as a subdivision, a busy road, a rural road, or a village. Delineating neighborhoods group properties based on similar conditions. Valuation models are created using determined statistical factors such as age, style, condition, construction grade, and amenities. New full value assessments are generated, and appraisers review the new assessments for consistency and validity. Commercial properties are also delineated into neighborhoods and valuation districts depending on the location. Since commercial properties sell based on income-producing factors, income and expense data is also part of the valuation process, including market data. Valuation models are created and new full value assessments are generated and reviewed by commercial appraisers. Once all new full value property assessments are created, testing is performed to ensure properties are meeting the full value standard. Typically, representatives from New York State Department of Taxation and Finance run a variety of statistics on the new full value assessments to confirm the full value standards are being met. Phase 3, the informal review phase. Property owners receive the new full value assessments via mail, typically in the form of assessment disclosure notice. This notice is mandated by New York State. The assessment disclosure notice will show the current property assessment and the new preliminary full value assessment. This notice also indicates a hypothetical tax illustration. The premise is the new full value assessment was in place last year. Using last year's budgets and levies, What would the property owner have paid? Future web videos will address the notice in more detail. Included in the new notice will be instructions on the informal review process and where property owners can go to get more information. The informal review process has been automated to assist property owners in challenging the new full value assessment if they believe the new value to be inaccurate. Property owners need to ask themselves the question, could I sell my property for the new full value assessment? The first step is to review the sales that have occurred in the municipality. Information on all the sales utilized in the process will be available on the PRO's website application. Important dates to remember. A future web video will detail the informal review process. Think of reassessment as a redistribution of the tax burden. Mrs. Smith's house and Mrs. Jones' house were both assessed at $100,000 prior to the reassessment. They each paid $2,000 in taxes. After the reassessment, Mrs. Smith's assessed value was $300,000 and Mrs. Jones was $150,000. Mrs. Smith will now pay $2,667 and Mrs. Jones would pay $1,333. There is a difference in the taxes. Mrs. Smith is going to pay more and Mrs. Jones is going to pay less. As the total taxable value of all the properties in the town increases and the budget remains the same, the tax rate drops. Some closing thoughts. No new tax revenue is created in a reassessment. Full value assessment is the most fair and equitable way to distribute property tax levies. Check the town website for future videos and more information on the reassessment project.